My name is Kate Kennedy, 28 years old. Today, I'm getting married to my husband, Tom. I was smiling, dressed in the white wedding dress I had always dreamed of. Tom looked at me with a gentle smile. Today, many guests were attending our wedding. Friends, colleagues, acquaintances from Tom's and my workplace, as well as our parents and relatives. Everyone had gathered to celebrate the marriage of me and Tom, a man known for being sincere and kind. Well, except for a few people. At the moment of the grand main event, I snatched the microphone from the MC and, ignoring the stunned look on their face, spoke loudly to the audience. Thank you all for taking the time to be here today to celebrate with us. But I must apologize to everyone. I'm not actually the real bride. I'm deeply sorry for deceiving you all in this way. I bowed deeply as the room erupted into murmurs. However, my friends remained calm.
Hey, Kate, what are you talking about? Stop joking around at a time like this. You're my wife, the real bride.
Tom hurriedly tried to defuse the situation, but I didn't respond and continued. And now, let me introduce the real bride and the groom's child to everyone. At that moment, my friends parted, revealing a woman wearing a deep hat and a small child who had been hidden among them. The two walked up to the stage, and the woman removed her hat. Tom's face twisted in shock.
Why? Why are you here?
It was no surprise. The woman was Tom's mistress, and the child was his secret son. They were supposed to be in Mexico. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sherry, the woman Tom was involved with during his business trips to Mexico, and this is Luca, the son she had with Tom. Tom promised Sherry that once his work settled down, he would marry her. Unlike me, she even has a child, so she is the real bride. Isn't it wonderful? A family of 3, right here at their wedding. Congratulations, everyone, please give them a round of applause. I said this with a big smile.
No. I don't know these people.
Tom desperately tried to deny it, but Luca suddenly shouted,
Daddy,
and ran toward Tom. Tom staggered backward, and the room buzzed even more. Tom glanced at me, his eyes filled with shock, silently asking, "How do you know about this?" My husband, Tom, wasn't particularly handsome, but he was known to be sincere and kind by everyone. Family, friends, colleagues, and acquaintances alike. My parents adored Tom as well. I was drawn to Tom's seriousness and kindness and was overjoyed to marry him. His family was also very kind, and I felt fortunate to have married into such a wonderful family. I always believed that a good marriage was based on character, not looks or money. If there was anything that bothered me, it was Tom's demanding job, which required frequent business trips, making it difficult for us to spend much time together. Though we had registered our marriage, we hadn't held a wedding ceremony because right after we got married, Tom was assigned to a long-term business trip in Mexico. I wanted to go with him, but moving to a foreign country where I didn't speak the language was too daunting. I had never been good at Spanish since my school days. Additionally, my own job had become busy as I was working toward a promotion, so we had to postpone the wedding ceremony. I was disappointed, as I had always dreamed of wearing a white wedding dress, but I convinced myself it couldn't be helped. Tom's trip was extended, and he ended up staying in Mexico for 3 years. He came back during the holidays and long breaks, but 3 years passed quickly. When Tom finally returned after 3 years, I was thrilled to welcome him back.
I'm sorry for making you wait. Work has settled down now, and I don't think I'll be sent on any more trips for a while. Kate, let's finally have our wedding ceremony.
Now? Really?
Yes, I want to fulfill your dream.
I was so overjoyed that I hugged Tom tightly. Since I had given up on the idea of having a wedding, the happiness I felt was overwhelming. Preparations for the wedding ceremony progressed smoothly, and Tom accepted all of my requests for the ceremony. However, I noticed some changes in Tom's behavior after he returned. He never let his phone out of his sight, frequently texting someone with a grin, especially at night. If I tried to sneak a peek, he would panic and hide his phone. Thinking back, he acted the same way during his short visits home over the years. One day, Tom forgot his phone at home when he left for work. Finding this unusual, I picked up the phone and saw a message notification from someone named Sherry. No profile picture, just the name. The message read,
Tom, I'm sending you a video of Luca. I love you, Tom.
A sinking feeling overcame me, and I quickly unlocked Tom's phone. I had memorized Tom's passcode, so I could easily access his messages. It didn't take long to confirm my suspicions that Sherry was someone Tom had met during his business trips in Mexico. As promised, she had sent a video of a small boy, around 2 years old, with a mixed-race appearance. Likely her child. He's so cute. For a moment, I forgot my suspicions and couldn't help but admire the boy's adorableness. I played the video, and the boy looked at the camera while playing with a toy, laughing and saying,
Daddy.
If he's calling Tom Daddy, then. I scrolled through their message history. Even with my limited knowledge of Spanish, terms like mi amor and daddy were easy to understand. It was enough to confirm my worst fears. Just then, I heard Tom's voice.
I'm back.
I quickly closed the messaging app, locked the phone, and placed it back on the table.
Sorry. I forgot this. I'll be heading out again.
Oh, okay. Take care. Tom took his phone without a second thought and left for work. He had no idea I had seen the messages. After what I saw, I couldn't get it out of my mind. I acted normally around Tom and everyone else, but internally, I was in turmoil. I hired a private investigator to verify my suspicions. Even though I knew what I had seen, I still hoped it was some kind of misunderstanding. But the investigation confirmed what I feared. Tom had been having an affair with a local woman named Sherry in Mexico and had fathered a child with her named Luca. The image I had of Tom as a sincere, kind, and hardworking man crumbled. Despite everything, everyone still thought highly of Tom, calling him a great husband. Especially now that we were preparing for the wedding. It infuriated me. I could have easily confronted Tom with the evidence and filed for divorce, but I wanted more. I wanted to expose Tom's true self in front of everyone. So, I played the part of the happy, loving wife in front of Tom and everyone else. Late at night, when Tom was asleep, I unlocked his phone again. If he had changed the passcode, I was prepared to use his fingerprint while he slept, but it wasn't necessary. Tom was sleeping peacefully, smiling as if he were dreaming of Sherry and Luca. The thought crossed my mind bitterly. I got Sherry's contact information from Tom's phone and sent her a message from mine. It was late at night, but the time difference with Mexico should work in my favor. I was sure Tom had been messaging her late at night for the same reason. Hello, Sherry. I'm Kate, Tom's wife. As soon as I sent the message, I remembered something Tom had told me. In Mexico, Messenger wasn't as widely used as it was in the US, and many people only used it to communicate with Americans. Would Sherry respond to a message from a stranger? And would she understand English? Maybe I should rewrite it in simple Spanish. But my thoughts were interrupted by a quick reply.
Wife? Tom is married?
The message was longer than I expected, and I was relieved she could speak English. Later, I found out that Tom had been teaching her English, and she had also studied it on her own. I explained to her that Tom and I had been married for 3 years and were about to have a wedding ceremony. I also sent her photos as proof. Sherry was horrified and repeatedly apologized.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Please forgive me.
She explained that Tom had never told her he was married and had promised to marry her once his work settled down. In Mexico, where many women raise children alone, Sherry hadn't found anything suspicious. I can't believe Tom would lie about being single, have an affair, and even father a secret child. I was beyond disgusted. Later, I learned that in Mexico, where many people follow the Catholic faith, infidelity is considered a sin. Sherry, being Catholic, couldn't forgive Tom for his deceit. I told her that in my state in the US, I could sue her as the mistress for damages. But if she helped me expose Tom at our wedding, I would not pursue any legal action against her. When I shared my plan for revenge, Sherry agreed. She and Luca flew to the US to help. She was a beautiful woman with blonde hair and blue eyes. Luca, just as adorable as in the video, was a sweet, friendly child. It was a little strange, knowing that Luca was Tom's child, but Sherry mentioned she had been planning to come to the US to see Tom anyway. Apparently, Tom had repeatedly told her not to come. On the day of the wedding, Sherry and Luca attended under a false name, blending in with my guests. At my signal, they would reveal themselves and come up to the stage. The plan went perfectly. My friends, who were horrified by Tom's actions and eagerly wanted to help, played a crucial role in making it work.
Tom, what is going on?
Sherry angrily confronted Tom.
I didn't know you had a wife. You said you would marry me. Will you keep your promise and divorce Kate? Answer me.
Her broken English carried the weight of her fury. I could see that the guests were starting to understand the situation, as Sherry had chosen to speak in English for their benefit.
No, that's not what I meant.
Tom was visibly shaken, but it was clear he had no intention of leaving me. The truth is, my family was quite wealthy, and Tom's family's business had been relying on financial support from mine. Everyone knew this. Tom couldn't afford to lose me, especially not in such a public setting.
Daddy. Daddy.
Luca clung to Tom, desperately calling out to him. Tom, overwhelmed by the situation, finally snapped.
Shut up. I don't even know you.
He yelled and pushed Luca away, causing him to fall on the stage. Luca burst into tears, not just from the pain but from the shock of his father's harsh rejection. The guests, who had known Tom as a kind and gentle man who loved children, were horrified by this outburst. Tom quickly realized what he had done and turned pale.
And no, this isn't what it looks like.
But how could it be anything else? Sherry picked up Luca, holding him close as she glared at Tom, smiling sarcastically. I didn't understand what she was saying, as it was all in rapid Spanish, but her anger was clear.
Everyone, please.
Tom was desperately trying to salvage his reputation.
Kate is mistaken. I swear to God, I've done nothing wrong. This crazy Spanish woman with a child has been stalking me ever since I met her on a business trip. Everything she's saying is a lie, pure delusion. That child is brainwashed by his mother. He's not my son. I don't even know them. Kate misunderstood everything. Please believe me. Kate, you too. I'll forgive you for bringing this woman to our wedding and pulling this stunt if you just stop now. You know, Kate can be a bit gullible, right? She's so kind, so she must have believed this woman's lies.
As Tom pleaded, some of the guests began to nod, swayed by the idea that Tom, the serious and sincere man they knew, could never be involved in an affair, let alone have a secret child. Tom's reputation had been built on his image as an honest and kind man, making it hard for the guests to believe Sherry's story. But if what Tom said was true, then what about the evidence from the private investigator? The messages where Tom told Sherry he loved her over and over? I looked at Sherry, who was on the verge of tears as she glared at Tom. Luca, who couldn't understand the English being spoken, also looked sad. I realized how terrible Tom truly was. If I had confronted him with the evidence and divorced him earlier, he would have undoubtedly twisted the story to make me look like the bad one. He might have claimed I was the one cheating or lying. Sherry and I exchanged glances and nodded to each other. Then I gave the signal to the venue staff. Yes, they were in on the plan too. Suddenly, a video appeared on the screen, showing Tom, Sherry, and Luca together. They looked like a happy family, playing together. Luca called Sherry Mommy and Tom Daddy, clinging to Tom as Tom smiled and lifted him in his arms.
Luca, Daddy loves you and Mommy.
Tom's words echoed throughout the venue. The video was short, but it had the intended impact.
What is the meaning of this, Tom?
Tom's parents yelled at him, furious. Tom collapsed, pale and defeated. I smiled at the guests and said, "Now you can see for yourselves who's telling the truth." For those who still don't get it, we'll also show you the messages Tom exchanged with Sherry. The screen displayed screenshots of Tom's messages to Sherry. The guests silently read through the undeniable evidence. Tom, gasping for breath like a fish out of water, had nothing left to say. Sherry, still holding Luca, turned to the guests.
I'm not lying. Tom is a liar. Luca is Tom's child. We can do a DNA test if you want.
I'm more than happy to give Tom to Sherry, for Luca's sake.
Wait.
Tom, still on his knees, begged me.
I'll break things off with Sherry, I swear. And Luca too, of course. Just don't divorce me, Kate. I was just lonely while I was away on business, and I made a mistake. I couldn't control my urges. It was just a meaningless fling with a foreigner. I never thought a child would come out of it. The only person I truly love is you, Kate.
Tom's pitiful pleas only solidified his image as an untrustworthy man.
I can't believe Tom was like that. I'm so disappointed. Both Sherry and Kate deserve better. And poor Luca. What kind of father would push his child away like that?
I heard whispers of judgment from the guests. Tom's carefully crafted image as a sincere and kind man was crumbling in front of everyone. I'm divorcing you, and I'll be demanding compensation. I have no love left for you. I coldly rejected Tom's desperate pleas, pushing him away.
No.
Tom then turned to Sherry with a pleading look, but she was staring at him with even colder eyes than mine.
Tom, I understand now. You don't love me or Luca. I don't love you anymore either. I hate you. I don't need to marry you. But I will get child support for Luca. That's his right.
At some point, Luca had stopped crying, and now it was Tom who was crying instead.
And since you lied to me about not being married, I'll also be asking for compensation. You will pay, Tom.
Apparently, Sherry had thoroughly studied the US and state laws regarding infidelity. Sherry and I turned our backs on the weeping Tom and walked off the stage. The wedding was, of course, immediately cancelled. Tom's parents disowned him, announcing that he would never be allowed to set foot in their home again. Tom was also fired from the family business, which was run by his father. He had never been a particularly capable employee, but his sincerity, hard work, and likable personality had earned him a position. Now, after the affair, his parents had lost all patience with him. His father said to him,
"You're a disgrace to this company and a disgrace to American men."
Tom's parents even bowed down and apologized to both me and Sherry, saying,
"We are so sorry for our foolish son."
Tom, whose reputation as a sincere and kind man had crumbled, was abandoned by friends, family, and colleagues alike. Everyone who had attended the wedding or heard about the scandal turned their backs on him. My parents were, of course, furious with Tom. I demanded compensation from Tom, and Sherry did the same, along with child support for Luca. Since Sherry was living in Mexico, she had to go through the legal process to enforce child support from Tom. After months of back and forth, she was finally able to secure a court order under the Hague Convention, ensuring that Tom's wages would be garnished in the US to support Luca. Although it wasn't an easy process, the international agreement between the US and Mexico helped. Tom was also billed for all the wedding expenses. He had to sell his house and car, and he was left with nothing but debt. In the US, child support laws are very strict, and failure to pay can lead to severe penalties, including losing your driver's license or passport. Tom couldn't afford to ignore these obligations. Child support in the US is typically deducted directly from wages, and the government can seize assets or tax refunds if necessary. So, Tom was forced to pay child support to Sherry and Luca, who were living in Mexico. During their exchanges, Tom made one final desperate plea to Sherry.
Let's live together again in the US, just the three of us. Me, you, and Luca.
Since he had been abandoned by both me and his parents, it seemed he was now clinging to Sherry and Luca, desperate not to be left alone. but Sherry refused.
It's hard being a single mother, you know.
But in Mexico, where single motherhood is common and well supported, Sherry wasn't concerned. She explained that single mothers in Mexico receive a lot of assistance. Besides, after Tom pushed Luca away and yelled at him, Luca had become terrified of his father. Even so, Sherry said she would allow supervised visitation with Luca, as children have a right to see their parents. In the US, joint custody and visitation are often prioritized after a divorce, although Sherry and Tom were never married. In the end, Tom never pursued visitation with Luca, and he eventually disappeared from both Sherry's and my life, cutting off all contact. Rumor has it that Tom has fallen into a terrible state, far from the person he used to be. Fortunately, though, the child support payments continue, and they will until Luca turns 21. Sherry returned to Mexico and is now raising Luca as a single mother. We haven't met in person since she left, but we still message each other occasionally. Sherry has become quite fluent in English. She says Luca is growing up healthy and happy, and he has completely forgotten about his father. When I see pictures of Luca, there's a resemblance to Tom, which is a bit complicated, but he's a very handsome and charming boy now. I only hope Luca grows up to be a genuinely good person, unlike his father. Sherry says she's determined to raise him to be an honest man. As for me, my family, friends, and even Tom's parents have been very supportive. I've focused on my career, and it's been rewarding. I've been promoted and gotten a raise. I'm fortunate in many ways. However, I've developed a distrust of men since then, and I haven't been interested in pursuing a new relationship. After all, if even someone as seemingly sincere and kind as Tom could betray me like this, what hope is there for other men? But after seeing how happy Sherry and Luca are together, I've started to feel a sense of longing. I don't want to be alone for the rest of my life. I had always dreamed of becoming a mother too. So, I've decided to start dating again, with the hope of finding a truly honest and good man this time. I'm praying that I meet someone special. I hope you enjoyed this story. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.